I got good news for you and better news. Good evening, everyone. It's time for the best Preservation Commission meeting going on in the state of Kansas today. Right.
It's rather limited in scope.
There's no competition.
Yes. For those competitors, keep paying attention. We'll show you how it's really done.
They're in Topeka right now.
Yes, they're in Topeka. So we're going to start with a roll call. We're going to start on this end, to my left.
Sherry, Hines, Hanson, Whitson. It's being changed, the plaque is, so I gotta do all names.
And
Ken Bateman?
Dick Gibson.
Rick Jackson. We have a quorum. Welcome, everybody. We haven't seen each other for a while, but we're back together again. If everyone has had a chance to look at the minutes, I will entertain a motion to accept them.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we accept the minutes from March 5. I'll start, Sherry, on your end.
Yay.
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 Yay. It's unanimous, so thank you. We have no old business in front of us. Good so far, look. So we'll jump straight into new business since it's raining outside. 214 Arch Street. Is there someone here to speak on 214 Arch Street?
That would be me.
Yeah.
Would you, go ahead.
Well, I'll just say, I'll
Kim?
just give a brief overview if that's okay with
If
you.
you would,
And then we
please.
can
Thank you.
pass it on to him.
Thank
So
you.
the application we have in front of you today is for the removal and replacement of a deck. This is at 214 Arch Street, as you had mentioned, in the Arch Street Historic District. So the property is identified as a contributing property within that district. It's on the southern portion of the overall district, and some of the defining features include arched windows and a pretty impressive deck on the front of the house. We did a review of the proposed changes of the rear deck. The rear deck doesn't seem to have the same historic features as the front portion does. The spindles are different. It's more of a much modern design. And it appears it was added on later to the house, not with the original construction. We don't think that adding or that replacing that deck, which you can see from photos is in a pretty deteriorated condition, would really harm the historic nature of the home. So some of those, or all of those defining features I had mentioned, the arched windows, the brick construction, all of that of the existing home will be maintained. And I will let the applicant speak if they have anything that they want to say as well.
No, I mean, you pretty much covered it. We're going to, so I've been in the house since about 12 years now, and I don't know when the deck was built, but the house originally was totally remodeled in about 95. And knock on wood, the air conditioner's still working from 1995. So. But the deck could have been built that long ago. You've seen the pictures. Boards are starting to pop up. You know, I spend half my time out there pounding nails down. So all we really want to do is, we've got Denny's going to do the work. So we've hired, a legitimate contractor type. And we're just going to replace the deck. And there won't. First of all, we almost didn't get the house because, so the deck is not actually attached to the house. It sits up against the house. We almost didn't get the house because during the inspection, they found radon. And my wife refused to let them drill in the brick. We wanted to get AT&T fiber. They came out and said they had to drill. We said, yes, we're still with Spectrum on Diamond. Anyway, so currently, it sits against the house. It's very secured, you know what I mean? So there won't be anything to, he's basically just gonna remove those posts, new post in, and put a new deck in.
So you anticipated one of my questions. I wondered if it was attached to the house. My second question is, would you provide us your name for?
I'm sorry, Jack Flowers.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Does anyone else have any questions?
The deck is expanding though.
Yeah, it is. We're gonna use
Okay.
it's basically gonna give us another 8 feet. Same, but come out 8 feet. There's two reasons for that. Number one, the contractor recommended, since they're gonna use 16-foot stringers anyway, you know what I mean? It's just as easy to run those out. Second of all, as you all know, on those old houses, the garage is very tiny. And I've already had to take my wife's car to Vetters once, where she scraped her car, getting it out of the garage. So this will allow her to kind of park her car, you know what I mean, under the deck, which would give her a little bit of protection. And I won't have to continue to park her car when it's in the thunderstorm.
On the deck, the posts supporting it are going to be 6x6
Yes,
all the way up.
yes, all the way, yeah. He's gonna come in, and they've got in the diagram there, they've got each one of
No, I
them.
looked at it,
Yeah.
and it had a 4x4 sitting on top of the 6x6. One of the blueprints shows I gotta find it here.
Yeah, it's-
What page?
Yeah, I didn't know if you guys would want all those details, but I wanted them to be on the record in case we ever had questions in the future.
Yeah, better
Yeah,
be safe than sorry.
Yeah,
it's
it's,
super.
Page 19 of 19. It shows the post, that's a 6x6, and sitting on top of it is a beam, which then goes up to the deck itself. That's a 4x4.
Yeah. So, I can get you an answer from Ted. He
My,
said-
my concern is that that 4x4 is not gonna support that
Yeah,
deck.
no, like I said, I have complete confidence in the guys from Denny. You know what I mean, that they'll make sure it's sound, safe, all that stuff. That's why, you know, I've built decks in the past, but I'm turning it over to the professionals, so.
And I'll also add real quick that if approved tonight, this would continue on to building permit, so it would have review and inspections through that process for the structural integrity of it.
I'm not seeing Denny's name on it anywhere.
I don't know if it's in the packet, but, I mean, I've got their estimate here. That's, all those designs that you see, that's all their stuff, that's not.
Oh, it just said Menards at the top, so,
Yeah,
But it's
they used to
Denny's.
do the, yeah.
okay.
JF Denny's actually the contractor.
Actually, you got a good estimate.
Yeah.
That's pretty cheap. Good for you.
Well, that's because we give a lot of business on other things, unfortunately, sometimes.
It works like that. Ken, did you have any inquiries, or?
No, I mean, our scope is just limited to where it's architecturally sound with the thing. We're not here to sort of approve your design process. That's limited. Our role is limited to the architectural stuff, so that's all I got. I'm ready to vote.
Okay. Jerry, are you ready for a vote?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and move to action unless you guys want discussion.
No further discussion?
So I'll do a motion to determine that the proposed changes to 214 Arch Street do not damage or destroy Arch Street Historic District. And a motion to move forward with it.
I'll second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve the project at 214 Arch Street. Rich, I'll start at your end.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Aye. So that is unanimous. We appreciate you taking the time to come and visit with us.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay.
So, just go
Can I get hold of Penny tomorrow? Let them know we're doing this.
Yep, we can move on to the permitting.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a good evening,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
And I'll say for the record, he was very easy to work with, so
More of those
I
people.
appreciate easy candidates who provide all the information we ask.
All
It helps.
sign right here.
Yes, it helps because it anticipates all the question. As far as new business goes, I believe that's all the new business you have for us today, Ms. Fratello?
That is it.
Okay, then we have minor state law reviews and minor certificates of appropriateness on a couple of different properties. And I'll ask everybody to look at those at their leisure at their house. Then I have 3 questions before we depart. Rich, I understand that you guys were at Topeka today for kind of the training. If you could kind of just give us a quick little Clef Note kind of piece on.
What did you learn?
Well,
Just a
it was,
short.
they call it CAMP, and that is an acronym. Primarily, most of the information was for the staff and their functions. The thing that came out to me the most was, what are we doing in relationship to all of the things they presented today? And so are we making the kinds of coordinations within the hierarchy of the city government in this building primarily? You know, we go 3 to 4 months and then we have a meeting. And I think we probably would have a meeting every month if everybody was aware that every time they go get a building permit, do they in fact go down the hall and see somebody else in this staff because their building permit is on a home that's in a historic district?
So through our permitting system, it's actually set up that when they submit for a permit, all of the properties that are historic or are in a historic district have a flag on them. So the permit can't be issued until somebody from planning staff removes that flag essentially. So that's how we kind of catch that. But you'll notice a lot of them are the more minor stuff. So that's like what we have that you guys just looked at. But like signs, anytime a sign comes through in the historic district, it does require staff to do a review for the historic nature. Fences, roofs, HVAC equipment, all that stuff does actually require staff to do a review. Although
All the
it's-
work that gets permitted.
Yeah,
Right.
although it's not something that comes to you all, there are a lot of those small things that still come to staff.
The other point I would make is, are we doing enough as a commission with the staff for education?
Yeah.
To educate our community about possible tax credits? Are they in a historic district? Do the realtors give 2 hoots and a dime as to this house that they're trying to sell is in a historic district? Do they tell the new homeowner? Do they tell the realtor on the other side?
They didn't tell me when I bought mine in 2016.
Yeah, so you find out by a neighbor maybe.
Or when you try to get solar
Or
panels
you
put on
try-
your house.
You try and do
And
something
it
in your
was
house
left
and-
by the previous
bingo.
owner.
Yeah,
That's
so
how.
I'm not sure, well, I've only been on this for 4 years, so. But I've asked the question before about education. And we get, yeah, we're doing everything. I don't think so.
Yeah, I talked to Michelle on Monday, because she had mentioned that you guys were gonna be at that, and I said, well, I don't get any educational stuff, and she's like, there should be webinars. And we were like, we're not getting the webinars, so she did send some out
Yeah, I got it
this
today.
past week.
Yeah, I got mine
And
last
so maybe it got lost in translation, I don't know.
Yeah, but my concern about education is what are we doing with the community? That we
Oh, you mean
support.
as, to connect? Mhm.
So when they walk in here and they're kind of going, I didn't know my home was in a historic district, now I gotta come here.
I already put a deposit on my solar
Yeah.
panels,
So
and
what
if you
do
don't
they
approve this, I'm gonna lose
recommend
it.
at this meeting today to work with the community? What were some ideas? Did they give you any?
Well, it's, some of them have brochures that they provide to the realtors or they provide to the homeowners. It's gonna take some coordination with the county. I know, having been a president of an HOA, you don't always know when somebody sells their home
Right,
until the new person's there.
or the sign goes up.
Yeah, and so I could go into the county records and I could see who's now owning that home. And if it's changed, you know, we would then send out a packet and say, hey,
Do we have any, like, marketing collateral that we can place with realtors or at the register of deeds or anything like that to say, hey, you own a historic home,
Or a budget to get
you
it?
know, here's kind
I
of,
don't know, but I feel like
watch
that,
outs.
like you were saying earlier, the grants, education materials might be something we could get a grant for, like to create a mailer that we send out once a year. I don't know if there's grant money for that, but it feels like something that there might be grant money for to educate the community.
Maybe something to check into.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Because, I mean, we have, I know Ed and I have been on, I mean, all of us have really, you've been on it, I've been on this committee for 6 years now, maybe even 7. And it is isolated. We don't really connect with the community, unless they walk through the door. And so I think that's a good thing, you know? Maybe we'll pledge forward and be the first commission to actually present that, you know?
So I think that might be a really good, the education thing, where maybe we send out mailers to all the registered addresses, and maybe once a year, we have like a little class where we bring someone from SHPO or something that says, you own a home, here's what that means, here's some of the benefits for you, there's huge benefits. It's not just all negative Nancy stuff, you know, where you have to come and give us your deck plans or whatever. But I mean, I think, yeah, that would, I mean, y'all have been here a lot longer than me, and if you're like, I don't think we're winning the education war, then we are losing the education war, and we need to change that fact.
So our consensus is that we are, one of the benefits of having y'all go to the training today was it's identified another challenge for us as a, where we can initiate some action. We all know who most of the realtors are in town, and so I would suggest as an action plan to go from today is that if you know someone that's in the realty business in town, just stop to their office and ask that reasonable question. It'll generate some communication, and that's kind of what we're looking for. So let me ask Ed this question. Ed, was there anything else you'd like to add to this piece?
Well, just talking about certain things to do, some of them, it would cost a lot of money if they had historic plaques put up in the areas where there are historic properties.
That's important, because like I live in a historical house, and it does have some lineage. It was owned by the 7th governor of Kansas. There's no sign that says anything magnificent in front of it. And we've often thought about doing it ourselves, but do we not, you know, and so we've just kind of like left it. But it'd be wonderful to.
Now, I'm pretty confident there's grant money for stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we've got at least 3 things to consider.
Well, there's another one too.
Oh, well, I'm coming back down there. I'm coming right back there. That's 3 so far. She's writing pretty fast.
She's got a to-do list.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to give her some time to cover down on it, because again, it's generating our communication. So we've got some information on webinars that, I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at that. So that's a good takeaway for us, something we can do at home. And then, Rich, you had one other item to add to that
Yeah,
consideration?
there's federal grant money at the state that's available. All we have to do is apply for it. So it could take care of plaques, I think. But it can also pay for the educational materials.
Any kind of brochure.
And we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
No, somebody's figured this out, we need to copy and paste
They
it.
said Wichita has an excellent program.
Oh, so they might have a template that
So
we could
I'm not
just
above-
borrow.
Borrowing.
Yeah.
Borrowing, correct, yes. There's no intellectual property
Yeah.
for great
And
ideas.
on the educational side, we are required to do 1 program a year. I don't know if you guys knew that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do a little better on our own individual, learning also. I hit a webinar, and then the thing that Dick and I went to today, so it was good, but can we learn more? Certainly.
Certainly. But what I also wanted to make sure is that we had an opportunity, since I was aware that we had representation there, that for our portion of the meeting, for people that are viewing this and they go, well, what do? They show up, they kind of snap their fingers, and then they're out of there. So we'd like to let them understand that we're moving forward and just taking a fresh step forward.
To serve the community.
Yeah,
That's what we're here
exactly.
for.
Well, thank you, everybody, for the
Aren't you
input.
sorry you asked for ideas?
I don't even think I asked for ideas this
No,
time,
it's just the blacks.
Okay.
but I wrote them down.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, I think it's cool that we all want to come together and do something like that.
Well, it also affords us an opportunity to, like you mentioned, Ed, sometimes we go a period of time across our desert, which would allow us at least get together formally and then maybe informally to look at some things. So,
Break some bread.
yeah, break some bread. So I just encourage everybody to visit with one of the realtors that you know in town. Because I think, collectively, we have overlap on it, but just walking through there, that's a reasonable question to ask. It's not going that they're in default or something like that. We're just trying to improve the quality of what we're providing.
I'm pretty
for
sure
the
that most sellers' disclosures have like a little thing, are you in a historic district? And you have to click yes or no.
I'll go back and
So
look.
maybe a realtor might, if that's there, I don't know, I've bought in a lot of houses in my,
I wonder if it's there on Zillow, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's probably a spot on Zillow.
yeah.
And once it's on Zillow, it's there forever.
They brought that
You
up
can
today too,
See
yeah.
pictures of my house from 5 years ago.
Well,
Yeah.
if you go look at University of Kansas, and the picture, my car's in the parking lot. That's how often I've been
They
there
haven't
for
told that
work.
away yet.
So, I mean, if that's on the seller's disclosure, the realtors, before they list it, they would do their clients a favor by just checking to see, calling
Yeah.
Kim and saying, hey, is, this address on there? No,
Yeah.
okay, check the box.
We have signage into the HOA that I live in. I'm amazed at how many new homeowners didn't even know they were in an HOA. I'm going, this is
Wow.
impossible.
That's kind of crazy, because there's usually fees attached to that.
Very much so.
So again, there's some education for not only us to receive, but for us to provide
But
for
if
some
it's a
folks.
Kansas City realtor that's selling the home, and they sell it to another realtor that's out of the area,
They
they
wouldn't
don't pay
know.
attention to any of that stuff.
True.
So likewise, historical districts.
True. Because my realtor was from Kansas City, that found our home. We found it on Zillow, and he's like, okay, we'll go take a look at it, so. After he said, hey, I think it's out of your price range. I go, no, let's still look at it.
He didn't understand. You had a different price range than he thought you had. Is there anything else that, if not, I will entertain a motion.
I have one quick
What-
thing.
Yes.
I just want to do a reminder that next Tuesday at the commission meeting is the Historic Proclamation, Historic Month, or Preservation Month. I think it's National Preservation Month. And I just want to confirm at least somebody's going to be there. I think
What
I think
time
a
and
few of you, in this room at 6 o'clock.
6 p.m.?
For the city commission meeting on next Tuesday, the 13th.
So Rich, I'm going to be there to support you. Watch this one. Guess Kim would say, you're going to be our spokesperson for that night, if that's
It's
okay
the
with you?
13th.
I can say thank you.
It's-
Tuesday.
Yes, okay. Yes, sure. It's not-
Unfortunately, I will not be there. I have a dinner meeting.
So in your case, what we'll do is, I'll throw up my phone and do a Zoom so you can see,
Yeah,
him doing
I'll
that.
wave at everybody.
Accept
I'm
the
fine with that.
proclamation.
Yes,
do a
the
little thank you
proclamation,
speech.
and-
I know.
Then we'll send you
It would be
a-
fun to be here, but sorry, I can't.
Well,
cancel
you
it.
are, modern technology is going to allow you to be here,
Okay,
okay?
do call.
Okay, we'll
You
do
have my
that.
number, right?
I'll make sure I get it before we depart out of here. Was there anything else?
Nothing else.
And then the other piece is, would you introduce yourself to
Yes.
everyone up here,
I'm
please?
sorry, I couldn't find my nameplate. I am Catherine Krishani, I am the admin clerk, and I'm just here to listen and take minutes.
And so-
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So now
And-
we have a face with the name that's been sent
You
us all
do.
that email.
I know.
Has yours been going to junk email also? No.
Speaking of
That's
that,
where
has
the
anybody-
webinars went.
Has anybody
Yes.
heard from Julie?
Julie Hurley or Julie McHugh?
Hurley.
Shirley.
So I saw her at the National Planning Conference that was last month. We went to dinner, we hung out at the conference a little bit, so I got to meet her. That was my first time
Oh, okay.
actually meeting her, other than my interview, when I interviewed for the role. So,
Yeah.
yeah, she seems like she's liking it out there.
Well, good. Yeah, we're friends on Facebook, but,
Uh,
I haven't really seen anything, so I was wondering. That's it.
All right, so there's a motion
I'll tell you, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we adjourn. Thank you, everybody, once again for all the things that you do and the things we're going to continue to do. And welcome, welcome, welcome to our new admin person. Thank you.
I know, right?
Who was the second on that motion? Was it you?
Oh, yeah.
Passing notes in class.
There you go.
See-
adjourned.
Yes, no, we didn't vote. Rick?
Aye.
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 Aye. Unanimous, we are all adjourned. Thank you very much.
All right.